Hi, I'm Jim Zehm. Over my engineering career, I've risen up to being a project manager. I've been a project engineer, system engineer, control system engineer, software engineer, electrical engineer, consulting engineer, and I've had good success in every level. But I believe my success in engineering goes back to when I was very young and the environment that I was raised in. I grew up in North Idaho in a very rural area. The town that I lived in was named Worley, Idaho. And then the 1950 census, it showed 127 people in the town. So most of my relatives lived nearby, out of town on farms. So I spent a lot of time on the farms, and I started operating farm equipment at a very early age. I was probably about 7 years old the first time I was driving a farm truck in a field picking up hay bales with my grandfather and uncle. I also ran the combine. In later years, I would drive the Caterpillar pulling the combine. And some of the combines were completely automated for remote control from the Caterpillar operator's driver's seat. Although most of my relatives were farmers in the local area, my dad chose a different path. Most of his life he was in the lumbering, logging, and equipment repair businesses. After getting out of the Army in World War II, he started his own sawmill and built it from scratch. Kaiser Aluminum in Spokane, Washington had 2 plants there, and they would buy all the lumber that Dad could saw because they said it was the straightest boards they could get. He had help from other people with the sawmill. Some of his family members worked there. There was also lumber from his mill that was used to build some local barns and also some local houses, and one for his parents. In the logging industry, he mostly hauled logs, although he also had bulldozers at times and skidded logs and such, but most of the time he was hauling logs. And he bought his first truck in the mid-50s, rebuilt it. As with most of the stuff around our place, we'd buy stuff that wasn't working and rebuild it and put it on the road again. So his first truck was a 51 International, and he had several different trucks over the years. I started loading logs with him when I was quite young. I was probably 7 or 8 years old the first time Dad needed help loading. He had a B&K self-loader on his truck, and it was much easier to load with 2 people. Normally there would be other loggers on the projects that would help him load, but occasionally he'd need to have someone go with him. So on rare occasions he'd have me go out. But as time went by, it was more and more frequently as my weight and size increased and I could pull the cable out easier. As far as equipment rebuilding goes, we were always rebuilding equipment at home. There's always some kind of a project, whether it's a car or truck or tractor or whatever. So we rebuilt a lot of heavy trucks, and we also restored a lot of vehicles, and I'll have other photos online with that. When I was a junior in high school, note that we had moved to the Dalton Gardens area just north of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I had the opportunity to go to work for the Coeur d'Alene Press. That was the local newspaper. And I worked on the circulation department, but primarily the first thing we do, set up for the newspaper run. And I would take papers off the belt, count them, and hand them to other guys who would sort them out for various paper boys and such. Then I would take bundles of papers around to remote paper boys